to a video on the power of a literature review. Excuse me, it looks like half of my screen is there. Hopefully. There is my PowerPoint now. I'm Brenda Luther. I'm the course mentor for SK2 and SQ2, as well as a few other classes here and there that you may have run into me in the MSN program. But welcome to almost the end of your work and starting to talk about your topic. I know Capstone and research has probably been on your mind since you enrolled in the MSN, and now is a really great time for you to think about your own topic and your credibility as a nurse, and especially with your newfound skills as an MSN nurse. So let's go on with this presentation on an overview about what I believe a literature review really looks like, or has the essence of. Hauser tells us, and this is paraphrased from her, but an in-depth analysis of recently published findings research on a topic. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? And that's exactly what you're going to do in SK2. The purpose of a literature review is to really build knowledge on a foundation of known knowledge. Demonstrate your credibility of the knowledge of your topic, and also explore how to use that knowledge differently, how to view it in other contexts or settings and explore on it. One of the things that I came to my head when I was starting this webinar on the purpose of a literature review is I hear a lot of students say, I have to have a topic that's original, something never researched before. And I personally had never heard that from my education. It's not true. A master's thesis research can be based on, or it can be topics that have been researched, and that's exactly what we are doing. We're building a foundation. We're building upon a foundation of known knowledge and bringing a new view to it, our experience. Certainly we are going for new knowledge, but it's not that we start with total unknown. We start with very much known. And that's what a literature review does. It helps you show your credibility of the knowledge of what's known. So before we begin, I'll cite my source for this webinar. I've really leaned heavily on Janet Hauser. I love Tappan, and as I say in my other webinars, but I really wanted to also have Hauser's words available to you through me so that you could experience different views of literature reviews. And I'll clarify some of the tasks. Remember, in SK2 you're going to focus on 10 pieces of research that you're going to use for your literature review. And in your capstone, you will, at a minimum, have 30 pieces, 35, 40 pieces. Once you get into learning how to critique and find evidence, you really find a lot of evidence. And so I just alert that to you right now, because you're going to be finding evidence in this task, and you may want to save some of it for your capstone. This is what task stream looks like. 3 tasks for SK2. Topic selection, where you really talk about the importance of the topic, the general background of it, the setting, description of the topic, and the problem statement. And I have webinars on our problem and purpose of a literature review, and you can view those next if you like. So you will really put together a literature review on just your 10 pieces, which when you're ready for capstone, you'll bring in those other pieces and definitely learn the mechanics of critiquing evidence. So let's start talking just a little bit about the housekeeping part of it. Think of yourself and how you have used articles from the library, journals, research reports, all kinds of data. Do you print it, stack it? Are you saving it electronically? Now is the time to get a little systematic about it. I've done both. I still have the notebooks of my master's thesis articles, and I've got notebooks, 4 large 3-ring binder notebooks of my dissertation thesis as well, and I also have them electronically saved. And so think about that and how you personally organize yourself. And now may be the time to think about a reference manager if you like. Perla is certainly a very affordable Ref Manager. RefWorks, EndNote are a little more expensive. MS Word also has a bibliography managing process. So give yourself time. These are not easy programs. I'm just showing you a little part of, this is a part of MS Word. This is a little screenshot of EndNote. They're complicated. When I had to learn both of them, I had to give myself a few weeks and lots of air. So give yourself time if you're ready to think about that. But I just bring that out because if you're starting the course, now's a good time to think about it and explore what works best for you. You can certainly do this printing and storing these articles. That's fine. But sometimes there's some help for you electronically. So think of the two. Write to your two audiences, the novice and the expert audience. In your literature review, think of those two audiences as you write. The novice being the person who knows nothing about your topic, so you're going to get as simple as describing the very basics. For instance, if you did a topic on a patient safety topic on hourly rounding, the novice may not know what hourly rounding is. The novice may not even know that nurses report off commonly at shift change, and they might have done it once at a station. They might not do it at a bedside. The novice may not even know that this is a major patient safety focus of our country right now, and there are standards written by national organizations about it. So you get that detail. This novice, I'm going to just school them on this whole topic, and you can do it concisely. It doesn't have to be pages and pages, but think of that novice audience first. Then think of the expert audience. When you're exploring and you pull in the literature and you find somebody like, I'm not sure if Linda Aiken has done rounding. Linda Aiken has done so much nursing administration research. I think of her with patient safety, but think of that expert person. What would they think? Brenda better have this in her review of literature. This is a large piece, very important piece of evidence, important statement to the topic. So those two audiences are really who you're focusing on. So when you're doing a literature review, it's a collection of current knowledge, so we said, the knowns about your topic, speaking to the novice all the way to the expert. It also communicates the importance. We want to get readers to care about what we're writing about. So immediately you want to say why this topic is important. Childhood obesity is increasing at alarming rates every year, and you use a citation to back up your statements. There's another part of the literature review that really helps you as a researcher too, is by reading how other people have researched the topic you're interested in. You will see some methods or tools and instruments or frameworks that others use that you could also use. I hear this almost weekly from the people I work with, and they'll say, I discovered something. This is a great tool. I'm going to write the authors and see if they'll let me use it. And they just saw their study, what they were thinking of doing, and it gave them a great roadmap. So those are some of the things you're going to collect. Your literature review also, I just want to give you a heads up without overwhelming you, it becomes chapter 2 of a research proposal. The 5 chapters of the typical thesis, capstone, research report are the introduction, the review of literature, which is what you're really working on, the introduction and the review of literature in SK2, and the methods section, which you're working on in SQ2, and then the results, the report of your study, and the discussion. The first 3 parts, your introduction, review of literature, and methods, are what comprise a research proposal. So if you think about it, if someone were coming to you and you were an administrator of a busy hospital and they said, we want to do some nurse research on staffing and patient satisfaction, you would clearly want to see that they demonstrated their knowledge of the topic through their introduction and the importance of it and their focus, the review of literature to show that they have credibility, and then how they're going to do the study. You would want those 3 chapters in a proposal statement so you could decide, are they credible? Are they ready to go? Do they seem to have everything up on it? Okay, now I suppose the next thing you're going to say to me is, I can get in the library and search, Brenda. I've got EndNote already on I write with it every day. I'm ready to go. I just don't know a topic. And certainly nobody wants to pick a topic for you. I mean, I could pick a topic for you, but I don't think that's why you came back to school. And I think each of us are unique, and that's what I celebrate being a nurse educator, is the unique nature of every student I run into and the topics that come from within them and their experiences. So my suggestions are: head to the literature, open up your favorite journal, look at things like the ANA Smart Briefs or the Kaiser Family Foundation research, or any organization that's writing on healthcare. Read and expose and explore and ask. Talk to your peers in your hospital. Your hospital maybe have some research goals that they're unable to get to, and you may be a perfect person to help them do that. That's really a great boon to you as a professional in your organization, and also a boon to your organization. The research you are going to do is obviously for your own personal gain of your master's degree, but the gain to nursing and the gain to your organizations are secondary and just as important, and something you ought to exploit. What you've given the time for this research, you've been mentored in it, you're ready to go. So reach out and explore with your peers and your nurse leaders around you. And maybe topic passion will hit you. That was a word that I used to roll my eyes at, topic passion. And I heard it, from the mentors that I worked with in my programs and research, but I believe it now. Topic passion about what we care about comes naturally. It's our natural questions, comes from our clinical expertise, and sometimes it comes from unique experiences. They could be frequent experiences, constant experiences that are nagging at you that could be improved, or they could be that one-time, very odd, rare occurrence of something that happened. Something clicked inside of you that said, what's going on? And you were able to distill your brain down and focus on it. And so look at your own passions, your questions, your expertise, and your experiences. So then, when you get to a literature review, what topic should I present in it? When you start to investigate in the literature and you're reading original evidence, research reports about your topic, look at how your authors presented the literature review. Look at what sections they felt were important and how succinctly and concisely they presented them. Remember that when somebody publishes a piece of research, it's probably about 1/100th of what they really wrote. Very condensed, very concise. Your literature reviews will be much longer for a capstone, but journals just require such tight word count that they're going to get real concise. But you can see their topic groupings, how they may have talked about parts of the topic. No topic has just one group. There's always issues around it. And there's some really unique ways on how to explore what are your topic points. It really depends on your topic and what's important, and what your goals are, what you want to convey to others, what you want them to see as most important in this research. So really you look at 3 things in a literature review. I do, at least. Besides writing to the 2 audiences, you look at 3 things you're trying to show the audience in this scope. Those MBA types, when they talk about a problem, they'll say, well, here's the 35,000 view, and here's the 5,000 view, and here's the ground level view. They'll talk about it that way. I see that as scope. Here's the overall view of the importance of this topic. Here's how it relates in these specific situations, and here's where the rubber meets the road in this situation. So look to scope, and then look to depth and breadth. So breadth may be the amount of topics. And I'll give you an example now. Childhood obesity. I think I used that just as a catch earlier. There may be parts of childhood obesity that are like school and how school participates in food and physical activity. There may be parts of where a child lives. If families are in a food desert, have you ever heard of those before? Inner city people live in places where they can't get fresh, affordable vegetables and food, and so they have other choices. There may be a component of heredity or genetics in a child. So those are the topics with the breadth. The depth is how far you go into it. So some topics will be more detailed and some will be less. Like if I were presenting the prevalence of childhood obesity, it might be pretty brief. I might be able to present that within a paragraph. We have excellent reports from the CDC that would just give me a nice review of what the issues are for kids. And then on food desert issues, families having access to quality and affordable food, that could go on forever. That could be a very large section. Now, is it what I'm going to be researching? Maybe it's not, so maybe I wouldn't go into that much detail, but it is important to understand the whole context of my setting. So I know you've run into concept maps at WGU because there really are a framework of our education framework, education beliefs, education theory, really exploring what you know about something. So maybe it's time to do a concept map on your topic. This might show you the depth and the breadth and the scope of your topic, and it may help you guide into understanding what's most important, what's lesser importance. A quick talk about what type of resources or databases that you need to explore for your topic, or can explore, I guess. Now is the time to reach out from the databases that you're most comfortable with and look at some others. Maybe you have a topic that is more psychosocial in nature. For instance, a topic of childhood obesity and family patterns. That may be more psychosocial. I might want to be in a database for psychology, PsycInfo it's called. You might want healthcare. That might be more administrative management kind of background as well as business. Or maybe education has some similar things. The topic of childhood obesity in schools certainly is going to be covered in some educational research. So go to the federated database search in the WGU library and look at all the available databases to you. Push yourself to move outside of what you're comfortable with. You may have just always been heading to Medline, Seminal, Academic Search Complete, some of those. And don't forget, PubMed, I think you've probably heard this in other webinars, but they don't play well with others, and they don't join the federated database search. We have to do those in the individualized database search, although I know that PubMed and WGU are trying to work that out, and they may be in the federated database search before long, but that's a database you kind of have to step out and search on its own. Also remember, you're going to be looking at two types of literature. Really want you to focus on finding primary research, actual research reports on your topic. Sometimes, though, you can find other types of evidence summaries or guidelines, but you're going to get empirical research, data, articles, and theoretical articles. Theoretical articles may have less research to back them up, but they have a lot of knowledge and thought and process. So you get these from journals, books, conferences, practice guidelines, dissertations. It's nice to have a full range. I think that conferences give us kind of up-to-date knowledge about how people are thinking currently about topics. Practice guidelines are great because they're kind of national standards. Dissertations are fresh work. So empirical knowledge or empirical literature is evidence or knowledge. It's primary research typically, although sometimes it may also be evidence summaries, meta-synthesis, meta-reviews of a lot of evidence. But it really documents what we know about the phenomenon that you're looking at. It documents the behavior, the events. Theoretical knowledge is more about conceptual models and frameworks. Remember, way back when you started the program in the nursing theory, when you explored systems theory, there may be a theory that upholds your thesis. For instance, if you were investigating how childhood obesity works for a child with a physical disability, the theories of chronic illness may help you understand what's going on in the phenomena. We use theory as a framework to let us know what to expect. It's like if you were studying germs, you would obviously be studying from the theory of germ theory. It's a roadmap, it's a framework. It also can be a framework for research methodology, and that's when you can sometimes use theoretical articles about people from journals and books theoretical writing about a method of research. Especially qualitative researchers typically find a theoretical model that helps them frame their research. There's a third piece of evidence, and that's kind of the seminal work. Classic knowledge is not bound by time, definitely is unique and timeless. It's got to be pretty important, and it's usually older than most of your research, but sometimes it's very important key work that any expert would say, I would expect to see that in this literature review. Also, when you do a literature review, you do a search strategy. You start by identifying your databases that are available, and then you outline some of your key words and terms, and then you revise. You're always revising. You kind of look at your results and say, oh, geez, I got 10,000 results. Obviously, you're going to have to search through those a bit. And then, or you may have had 3, and then you might have to change your keywords again. But revision in a search strategy is always happening. So just remember that you do have a strategy. You are going to make notes about this in SK2. And you will in your capstone too. It's kind of a credibility thing that you do for your readers and tell them, my search strategy was this. I used these databases, or these databases were accessed. 12,000 hits came back from the keywords of blah, blah, blah. The keywords were revised to this. And so just remember that's going on, and I just alert you to that because I know you're heading to the library for your search. So, that's my spiel about searches. I appreciate you coming and listening today, and please email or text anything I can do. Good luck, everyone.